Today in the crypto space, we see the market looking a bit red. However, overall, still within structure. Bitcoin right around 112,000, Ethereum right around that $4,000 mark, and the rest of the crypto space, these altcoins are very indecisive. A few dips, Near Protocol, Aptos, ICP, and a few others, as you can see. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator. But more importantly, guys, I want to take a look at the BNB chart and talk about BNB. What's up with it? And are we expecting downside? So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins. Looking for opportunity, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what we got going on here, because as you can see, the market, is not looking the greatest. We're slightly below the $4 trillion mark. Low volume, though, which at least is in our favor, given the fact that without market participation, it's going to be very hard to sustain a move in any direction, whether it be bullish or bearish. In this case, it's slightly bearish. As you can see, the market cap is falling 1.4%. However, without trading volume, that's, move to the downside is less likely to be sustainable, regardless of your position, regardless of your thesis. It is the way it is, okay? Market participation is a factor that we need to consider. As we scroll through the rest of the market, by the way, guys, today's video is on BNB. I want to take a look at what's going on with the Binance chain, because at the end of the day, guys, there's a lot of talk about BNB, CZ, and all of this. I think it's a valid topic, given the BNB chart being on fire in the last, bull run, pretty much the entire bull run. BNB's been on fire. It's the trade of the cycle, no doubt. And then BNB obviously being under a lot of scrutiny lately over what happened over the weekend. And, guys, it's a rough topic. It is, especially for OGs like myself that's been around, seeing BNB and getting involved in BNB for a long while, and Pancake Swap and the whole ecosystem and all of that. There's a bit of nostalgia there for a lot of us, you got to admit. Now, for those newcomers, a lot of them are salty, and I understand why, because for the most part, they're in this space, they're trying to use this cycle for what it's got and try to do the best they can, and they're willing to blame anybody and everybody who is in their way for not achieving that goal. And respects to them, because, of course, I was there once as well, trying to use the cycle to benefit. But we got to be really real about what could be happening here, and I'm going to take a very neutral approach before we move on. I just want to make that very clear. I want to be very neutral, and that's the best way to do it at the current moment. No emotion whatsoever. But before we get into the BNB topic, let's continue going through the top 100. I just want to get a sense of what's happening throughout the market, just to give us a bit of a feel. We do see that we got Bitcoin still holding steady sideways, right around this level. The range is still here. We did dip down earlier on today just a little bit. Obviously, it's down 1.7%. But if you look at it big picture, we're still within a very respectable range. There's nothing really bearish about the Bitcoin chart on the higher time frames. Depending on the time frame you're looking at, I know people will throw out the divergence on the 4-day, on the weekly, on the monthly. I get it. But all of that can be invalidated very quickly. This is the reality. It happens all the time. Now, if you're looking at midterm, I understand. Looking at the daily, maybe the 4-hour, it does look a little sloppy. Looking at lower time frames, maybe you can get in longs and shorts all day long. And that's what I've been doing. But in fact, I've been doing that on Ethereum in the last little while. Trading Ethereum has been quite fun. Today was a little bit hectic. Lots of whipsaw price action, lots of sideways chop. Guys, if you're following me on the Discord, you know that I've been actively trading in the last little while, trying to raise a bit of capital after taking a hit on that Friday. As you can see, we're seeing a lot of price action today to the downside, but no lower lows just yet here on this 1 hour fractal. So we're still doing okay. relative to, the entire chart. Obviously, this is only showing us a 1 hour fractal, but 3%, 4%, 5% on average, we're looking at maybe about a 3% dip throughout the market. While we do have some random anomalies doing okay, like Monero and maybe a few others, Zcash, privacy narrative is doing good. Chain Opera, lots of volatility, guys. I don't like this pump and dump scenario, guys. Be very, very careful when you see types of price action there. That tells you that there's some players there playing some games. Whale games are really, really critical to pay attention to, because you don't want to be at the tail end of this pump and dump. Be careful. Athena recuperating a little bit, but definitely down double digits. Guys, it's not just Athena. It's all projects pretty much down double digit. Dips are everywhere, guys. It's the season for the dips, right? You're going to be looking for buying bags, slowly start DCAing, because these dips are pretty good. When you're seeing Aptos down 33.4%, and guys, last night, Aptos chart didn't look very good at whatsoever. It still doesn't look that good. I'll be honest, it's got to reclaim some horizontal structure in order for me to get bullish on the Aptos chart. Fundamentally, it's okay, and both fundamentally, guys, be prepared. It looks like Aptos is going to be the project of choice for this weekend's deep dive. I release a deep dive every Sunday, guys, and you guys are voting on that deep dive. So the Discord is where it's at, where you can vote if you want to join. It's absolutely free, just a reminder. Ondo rolling over a little bit here, but holding steady still, right? It does look like it's making a lower low. If it breaks below the previous low, it could make a lower low, and the lower high obviously doesn't help the thesis. So the problem is that we're not really getting super bearish price action in the last 48 hours. But at the same time, I understand that the level of PTSD that exists in the market, the level of emotion that exists in this market is unlike no other. And, given the fact that I have exposure to a lot of individuals in this space, when, being on socials and that, guys, the emotions are crazy. You're not the only one that is left with a lot of uncertainty. To be honest, there's a level of uncertainty that I'm dealing with. Like, there's not much clarity here, with which direction we're going in the short term. Long term, we're still intact, guys. We're doing okay, right? Guys, gold is still doing well. And what that tells you is that one day we're going to see a transfer from gold to other assets when the market gets risk on. Yeah, where does it come from, this capital? It comes on from safer assets, gold being one of them. As we keep on going down, another one, gold, doing very, very well. Its market cap is obviously now in the top 100. Amazing stuff for gold holders, right? But then again, we got to anticipate there's going to be a moment where people are going to be looking for opportunities. Now, gold and Bitcoin did very well. And speaking of Binance and all of this, CZ did mention something pretty interesting earlier on today. It's a great topic of conversation, no doubt. But he did mention maybe this bull run hasn't even started. And the truth is, okay, cycle theory is out the window pretty much, guys. It's not that, it hasn't been consistent from other cycles. But the truth is that the only major projects that have done very well is, Bitcoin, and that's about it. Gold did well also. And as stores of value, one being the traditional, one being, new and novice and non-traditional, could suggest that the market was just getting risk off based on uncertainty, civil unrest, political uncertainty, whatever the case may be. And we had our fair share of that, throughout the last 4 years, we got to admit. So the truth is that maybe, obviously smoking a lot of opium here, anticipating what could happen next, we could see a bit of rotation out of, safety and into risk on. Guys, that's what a lot of us are waiting for, of course. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts, but before we do that, I just want to quickly take a look at what's happening with BNB. I definitely want to look at this chart, but I want to look at what's going on from a social perspective. I decided today just to go over what's going on socials. Let's just go through X and see. Guys, Coinbase to list BNB. Very interesting scenario, guys. I never imagined that would be the case. Now, there is a little bit of speculation that there's a bit of a feud perhaps coming into play here with Coinbase. If I were Coinbase, I wouldn't be touching this. I wouldn't be doing that. I wouldn't even be considering that. They're a publicly listed company. They're reputable. They're heavyweights. They shouldn't be playing games like this if that's the case. But I definitely want to keep on moving down. Let's see what kind of degeneracy we see here. Definitely a little bit there. Coinbase finally listing BNB after many years. Laugh out loud. It is so petty. Like, what is the plan? That's the thing. What is the point for Coinbase to list BNB? Is it literally because they are looking for trading volume? Is that could be the case, or is there other reasons? I don't know, guys. I have no idea. Then we got China Merchants Bank tokenizing $3.8 billion on funds. Obviously, it's a fund that has a lot of capital here, as you can see, on the BNB chain, which is great. We're seeing other parts of the world getting involved with BNB. Whether BNB says so or not, or confirms it or not, or admits it or not, BNB is one of the biggest one of the biggest centralized exchanges in the world. And if it is not number one, it's definitely number two. And I'm not gonna pretend like I know exactly, but I'll tell you this: it is the biggest in Asia, and being biggest in Asia does attract a lot of that Chinese liquidity. So pretty good stuff there for BNB in general. Now again, back to this: the roadmap. BNB is back on the roadmap. It's BNB's printing millionaires. I would be very reluctant on believing, maybe people that are in socials and stuff, but definitely based on the chart, guys, people I have no doubt if you got into BNB at the right time, you printed a few millionaires there for sure. Now this heats up that scenario about BNB and Coinbase. Now I'm curious, like there was a bit of a response, a clap back from CZ, reposting the first post that criticizes Coinbase, and then hours later Coinbase announces the listing of BNB. Is this something like playing petty games? I don't know. Is this possible? And then we get on to this. The most urgent thing, the most thing that most people are doing right now is blaming Binance and CZ and everybody else. As you can see, his face is plastered everywhere all over X, which in my opinion, guys, I'm going to be playing a little bit of devil's advocate here, because the truth is that a lot of the times claims are not really backed up with fact. Okay, there has been a depeg, and that's factual. USDE did depeg, which is fine. Binance did pay a lot of people for their losses, and they did pay a lot of people for meme coins. The problem is that that's not the reason why they paid them back for the meme coins, because they got into meme coins. These sentences make it sound, this is very deceiving. The reason why they paid them back is because the actual Binance platform halted, right? And because of that, that's why it's not has nothing to do with meme coins. And people have been criticizing Solana for so long about the fact that they host meme coins, and most people don't understand that it is a public blockchain, and projects can build on the public blockchain as much as they want. It's a decentralized blockchain, guys. So meme coins being attracted to BNB, and mind you, Binance Smart Chain had its fair choice of meme coins last cycle. Most people don't know because most people weren't in the trenches back then, but I was, and I remember the pancake swap days where there was tons of meme coins that we made tons of money off of, right? Just this cycle made it just became more mainstream. So I don't buy all of this. The reality is that some people are going to look for people to blame. And the truth is that okay, maybe Binance's APIs didn't do so well, and I'm not saying that's an excuse whatsoever. Yes, if that's the case, BNB has to own up for their technological failure and reimburse individuals. And a lot of exchanges, including BitNex, guys. By the way, this is a great segue here. Including BitNex, they're offering great trading bonuses and all kinds of leverage and all good bonuses here. Use my links in the description, guys. No doubt, BitNex has been killing it. They had almost zero downtime during that Friday dump. They actually held up very, very, very well. So doing pretty good. But nonetheless, there are people that are blaming BNB for everything. And I don't think that this is necessarily true. Like everybody withdraw from Binance, every sale makes the difference. Come on. Let's be real, guys. We saw our fair share of FUD in the past, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a level of coordination here amongst other exchanges to take down BNB, given that they are the largest, and also given that they came up with a software solution that could definitely impact the market, and that is called Aster. And you guys know, I'm sure you've heard of this. So I don't buy any of this, guys. At the end of the day, Coinbase will list. No one cares. No one trades on Coinbase. Guys, that's very true at the same time. And you can tell that this individual is backing BNB significantly also. So this is a big topic of conversation, of course, guys. So it's very hard to us to, really by with a high degree of certainty, blame Binance for all of what happened, because really, guys, they halted, trading because things were failing. They did do it the right way, maybe not. Did any exchange do it the right way? Maybe not. I'm not here to side with BNB or Binance. I'm not here to go against them either. I'm just trying to say here, guys, I think we can move on from this. I know a lot of us lost a lot of money. Guys, trust me to tell you that a lot of us lost a lot of money, including myself. And a lot of people earned a lot of money on this dump, unfortunately. It is the nature of the game. But we need to find it within us to move on. We have to. Because none of this is going to be fixed by boycotting and making claims that are false claims about Binance and all of this. Guys, we have to be clear about this. All right. So let's take a look at what's going on with the Binance chart. BNB at the end of the day has been doing great this cycle. What could we expect from Binance coin? At the end of the day, guys, I don't expect much. It did a lot already. Let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. Now, as you know, I started off this video saying, like, literally, maybe the bull run hasn't even started. The truth is, Bitcoin and gold are the only things, and stock market did recover very nicely too, but Bitcoin and gold are the only stores of value that have been doing well. And usually stores of value define civil unrest and people uncertain about traditional on speculative markets and such. But what about BNB? Where does that fit in? Right, that's the thing. Now, this is what also gives a lot of speculation that there's maybe manipulation here, Binance being propped up, and so on and so forth. Could this be the case? Honestly, there's no real major hardcore evidence for that thesis to stick. Now, of course, I encourage anybody that wants to provide that information. Join the Discord, guys. We would love to learn about what you think at the end of the day, as a community, of course. But as you can see, after a run up like this, guys, there's no way that I would be buying BNB here. Why? I'm going to tell you why. A lot of us in this space bought BNB sub $40, including myself. These entries at these levels are absolutely killer. And the reason why I'm saying that is because these bags are massive. At this point, you have to understand that people at any sign of weakness are going to be taking profit. I know a lot of us are waiting for an altcoin season, and it's inevitable that we're going to get a speculative pump of some sort one day, right? Because ultimately, the capitalistic environment that we are in this space, in any investment, market, the reality capital markets, we look for to capitalize, and we're looking for the next pump. We're looking for the next Bitcoin. We're looking for the next innovation. We're looking for the next opportunity to become millionaires. That's what we do. We speculate. And to see BNB, to see Binance coin all the way up here leaves no meat on the bone for me to look for an edge. The edge was maybe here. The edge was all the way down here. The edge was anywhere else but now. That there's no edge from a price perspective. It hit a very good psychological number. The amount of friction that we are seeing across socials tells me, what, maybe BNB needs to take a timeout. Not in a negative way, as you know, a very neutral way. Chill out. Maybe consolidate a little while. Maybe retrace. Maybe come back to $1,000. Do your thing right around here. Give us a nice market structure where we can feel safe that maybe we can put a couple stop losses below and maybe continue our journey. But not after a rally like this, especially once when we don't see Ethereum doing its fair share in a very centralized blockchain like Binance BNB is. It tells me that there's a little bit of worry of a potential retracement. The point of interest for me for a backtest confirmation would be at around 700. We got to be real about that, guys. Everything above $700 is really frothy price action. As you can see, this was the level. We were seeing divergence here, and it didn't diverge. In fact, it flew to much higher levels. Could have been off the back of Aster and all the other news regarding the Binance chain, guys. It could all be very possible. But there's two things after this pump that I look at. I look at either we're going to consolidate and form structure, which could be down to a 0.382 Fibonacci retracement, and come down to these levels, maybe structure out here, flag out, done, and then continue to the upside. Possible. Similar to what happened here. Think about it, guys. We traded the crap out of this thing a while back. We bought into obviously much lower, but buying here, selling here, buying here, was that lucrative? Or was it just fine enough to hold? Obviously, holding would have been fine enough, right? This little delta was not enough to justify a trade, but obviously hindsight is 2020. But now that we're all the way up here, guys, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna start getting to fresh longs after a massive rally like this? There's no way that I would be getting into a fresh long without a structure, so that I can, potentially get into a scenario where I put a stop loss to protect myself. Not that stop losses can help you all the time, but at the end of the day, guys, the risk management strategy needs to apply. Where are you going to put a stop loss now? Here on the daily chart. If you were to buy BNB, where would you put your stop loss at this moment? There's nowhere to put it, guys. There's nowhere to put it where you can basically find safety. Down here, $500 stop, all the way down to $500. Guys, you know what kind of dip that is? You will get wrecked. You will lose a ton of capital. Let's say 50% dip. That's insane, right? That's not where you put a stop loss unless you're going in with position size that you're willing to lose and all that other thing. Position sizing obviously matters. If you get it with $100, you lose $50, who cares? I get it. But the truth is, from a trader's perspective, this is not an entry level. Okay, so it's very frothy up here. It's really high up, guys. It's done very, very well. I think what could happen here is that if we want to see BNB to higher levels, we got to be patient to see what Ethereum does in the next little while. And while Ethereum finds its footing and starts to potentially break out, again, we're talking about altcoin season. It would be ideal for Binance to take that opportunity to structure out, because Ethereum has the potential to suck liquidity out of Bitcoin, and in that case, out of Binance, sorry. And in that case, we would see Binance Coin kind of consolidate and get that, exchange of hands happening, which ideally becomes a sideways structure before we get that continuation. Now, you might say, but Mike, your point of interest was all the way down here. It's still down here, no doubt, and that would be a retracement. That would be a deeper retracement. If you take the Fibonacci from swing low, just to put it in context of percentages, swing low to swing high, coming down to the golden pocket, why not? The GP is perfect. Perfect level to anticipate retracements down to the 200 daily EMA, exponential moving average. Why not? Touching the breakout zones, the previous tops to hunt liquidity where the order block matters, where pain exists. Why not? You get my point. So at this level, I wouldn't be touching BNB, not even... there's no way, unless we got on lower time frames. Let's quickly address that. Actually, before we get on lower time frames, I want to take out Synergy Signal. I want to take a look at this oscillator's doing. It's overbought in every single way, guys. There's no way that I'll be buying fresh bags of BNB. Even though I'm a holder and I hold a lot of it because I bought really early and all of that, I can't say this is the time to buy. I wouldn't be doing it. Now look at this. There's divergence on all of this. Basically, we got higher highs on the price action. I don't need to prove it to you. And then lower highs on the momentum. And the trend oscillator, yes, it's really expand. Look at how it expanded. It's really deep into the bullish control zone. And we got a bit of an EMA cross right here. Is it actually sustainable cross? Who knows? We've gotten fake outs before and went up for higher highs. So I'll just put it that way. The trend oscillator could still be very bullish as it is in the bullish control zone. But everything else here, divergence tells me that maybe we dip or at least structure out. Like I said, we come down for a bigger retracement or we structure out. That's all we got. Now, if we get into lower time frames, like I said, what we could be looking for is something that happens here. Now, remember that wick. That wick is the Friday wick, the unfortunate Black Swan event that we had regarding, the APIs, the DPEG and the Binance APIs and all the exchanges basically shutting down in a coordinated way where we couldn't even log in and all of this and all of that. People trying to, blame BNB or Binance. But at the end of the day, guys, a lot of projects, including BNB, got back to the structure that they were in prior to the dump. What happened here is BNB on spot, or any project, majority of the projects on spot didn't fluctuate, didn't really do anything. We got back in, we're fine. But a lot of people were left on the side. A lot of people got flushed out here. And that's what's very, very painful. And that's why I'm seeing a lot of emotional posting on socials. And I get it. I truly understand the emotions, especially if you're new to the cycle. You've been preparing for an altcoin season and you've been overextending yourself. I truly understand. But the reality is, guys, regardless of that, BNB is not at a lucrative moment. This is not you're not buying not even fair value. You're buying overbought conditions, you're not buying fair value, and most importantly, you're not buying a discount. Guys, you need to be buying discounts. If your argument to buy here on this dip, if you happen to be lucky to have limit orders or be able to log in somewhere and buy, congratulations. Because you bought in from a fluky level, a position of strength that you fluked, point of control, horizontal support, all of that is right there. Great. Do I think that a BNB rolls over here? It's very likely. It's very likely. And if it doesn't, like I said, structure out. Let's get down to the 15-minute. No, let's do the 4-hour. Let's see what I see here. A double top-ish. I'm wondering if there's divergence right here. There is. There's clear divergence. Look at these two tops. I'm just going to show you what I mean here quickly. Look at these two tops. Boom. Okay. And then you look at this top right in the same area and this top right in the same area. You can see that this top is downward sloping, which means higher highs in the price action, lower highs in the momentum. That's class A bearish divergence at a very frothy zone with tons of FUD floating around on Binance. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm worried for Binance from a bank run scenario. I'm worried about Binance because of all the FUD. I'm worried about Binance, potentially dragging the market down with all of this. For those of you that are, FUDding Binance, think twice because you're going to be FUDding your own bags, right? The market will take a hit if Binance comes down like that with that significant amount of pressure that you're looking for. And a lot of people want Binance to collapse. I would think twice about it before you come up with that type of request. Okay. So if we get oversold, there's no doubt in my mind that we're coming back down a minimum to this order block right here at $1,000. And because of the divergence, it could be possible. As you guys know, or may not know, I don't trade oscillators without confluence on market structure. Market structure really is not that promising. Now I'm just going to try to show you why. It's just a double top. Now the divergence you need to exclude the wicks. I just want to be clear about that. I made that very sloppily. I apologize, but I want to make it very clear for those of you that are learning. At least I can be on much more detailed here, so that you could at least learn something real. As you can see that if you exclude the wicks, that's the way you're supposed to do it, bodies only on the candles, you can see that we're getting a class A bearish divergence. My problem is that there's no market structure shifting to the downside. There's no change of character. Where is the lower low and where is the lower high? Okay, one might argue this was a lower low. Not really. Not really. Okay, that was not a lower low. So maybe this is the bottom. Exclude the wick for now. As long as we stay within this range, there's nothing to be bearish about. If we break below here, guys, it's the beginning. If we break below the 200 EMA on the 4-hour, we break below, come back up, higher low. What do we do at this point? Come back down, sweep, and keep on coming down? That's very possible. All of this is very possible, but without a proper market structure shift where we get a change of character, even a dead cat bounce, let's do it. Let's do it. Down, lower high, come down for the lower low. Let's do it. Just give me something. At this current moment, all we're trading is oscillator, and it's very valid. Look at the trend oscillator on the 4-hour. It also looks like garbage. Look at this. EMA is facing down, green, red histogram bars, blue expansion in the bearish control zone. Everything is suggesting bearishness. But until we get at least one lower low or a lower high, it's hard to suggest that the trend has shifted. The change of character has not been achieved. So am I going to front run and start shorting? No. But would I be taking profit up here if I'm in some severe gains? 100%. Would I be getting into fresh longs right now? Absolutely not. So you get my point. Just because I'm not completely bullish doesn't mean that I have to be completely bearish. Being neutral is very important because it allows you to think about the market as a no trade zone. Sometimes no trade is the best trade. Think about it, guys. You don't have to trade every single scenario. BNB right now for me is a no trade opportunity. Shorting it is dangerous. Long it is dangerous. Sentiment is all off the wall and all over the place. Guys, do your due diligence. Be careful out there because the volatility right now is quite crazy. Guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor. Slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip. Thank you.